Those of you who know my channel definitely know I find JRPG boss fights or post-game super bosses one of the best aspects of the genre, and it just gives me such a fun time. I'm going to go into my reasons why I love them so much, why I love super bosses, why I love the story bosses, and why I pay such close attention to them when I go through a game. I think boss fights bring so much importance to the genre. It can enhance the emotional tension that the cutscene or the story moment just showed you beforehand, using the gameplay mechanics to literally create a back and forth between you and your enemy. You are placed in the fight. You're not watching it like a movie or anime. You're literally the one using the gameplay that the game has given you to fight back at your enemy who just pissed you the hell off in the previous cutscene. That is a very powerful tool because if the boss fight sucks, it could either piss off the player, go by too fast, be way too hard, but if it's done well, it really brings a pace that keeps the story moving while you are actually playing the game itself. It is like a tug of war, and it is so fun to play out. Boss fights can also enhance the characters. What does the arena look like? Does it enhance the vision of the story that it was trying to tell? What do the bosses use? Are their abilities part of their personality? If they're extremely intimidating, are their abilities super strong and make you watch your movements? One of my least favorite things that happens when I play a JRPG is if the cutscene is showing the boss as super intimidating, this villain that could destroy everything just by sneezing, and then I get into the boss fight and I literally dump him in like 10 seconds. That is my least favorite thing. It just completely throws everything in the trash about him being an intimidating, strong villain. But on the other hand, let's say you're going into late game and it's a surprise boss, the story tension is there, it's a super crazy scene, and you get into the boss fight and it's just intense. It's pretty hard, you have to use all the gameplay you learned throughout the game to do good, and he just feels powerful. It's going to enhance the moments that just happened previously to that boss fight. That's why I consider a challenge super important at times. The whole game doesn't need to be challenging, but when it comes to a final boss or an enemy that has been taunting you the entire game as this powerful entity, I don't want them to be easy. It should be challenging. But at the same time, the mechanics and the design of the boss has to be fair and fun to play. It can't just throw a bunch of status ailments at you or some other bullshit and expect you to have a good time and take it seriously. I find all this super interesting, and it requires a lot of effort and knowledge to actually get these boss fights right, and that's why I actually look into the detail when I go through these games. It's a lot of fun. Also, as someone who values gameplay so important in JRPGs, boss fights let you test out the mechanics you've been given all game. It really could test your limits, you could test out more of the abilities. Usually when you're fighting mob fights or just grinding, you're using the strongest ability, or you're doing it really quick. You're not really there doing a back and forth fight. But with a boss fight, you could really test out what you've gained and accomplished so far through your JRPG. Basically, all the points I'm making in this video go towards showing the importance of bosses being well designed in a JRPG and how much they could actually tell of the story. There's been bosses that told me an entire scene or story while I'm fighting them, and it's just incredible. Even the scenery itself could tell a story. Now, another thing too is I think boss fights in JRPGs are very different from any other genre, even Western RPGs. JRPGs take their boss fights seriously. It's why you see a lot of post-game super bosses or obnoxiously difficult bosses. I think that's one of the most incredible thing about JRPGs, that they could tell a story with a boss fight while also giving you all your gameplay mechanics to use, and they try to make it as bombastic as humanly possible. Do you ever just have multiple save datas saved at a specific spot to where you could just redo a boss fight? That's the importance of it, and it put that into your memory of how amazing it was. It even turns nostalgic. That's how much of an impact just a single boss fight could do to tell a story. On the gameplay side, it also brings so much replayability. I don't have any other games to really go back to and do a shit ton of post-game or boss gauntlets to do challenge runs or anything of that sort. I gotta get my JRPGs and do them, and I'm totally fine with that, and I think it's amazing. I hope that stays a staple in the genre for years to come, and I hope developers look at games that did boss fights and super bosses extremely well and realize well-designed bosses are very important for their games, It's so amazing how you could get more time with the cast that you love so much. Do you ever just like finish a game and you're like, damn, I want to spend more time with that cast? Well, the super bosses and post game let you go for the new shiny weapons, the best weapons in the whole game. It lets you get to level 100 and do these things more easily. It doesn't feel like a chore because you're still going for some super boss or super dungeon, and you spend more time with those characters and get them to their most powerful. I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant of how much I think super bosses and boss fights being well designed in JRPGs are very important. I think it's an amazing staple of the genre, and I really just hope it continues. I keep looking for new JRPGs that have the best post-game possible, and it's super fun. Intense story moments could lead up to an exciting climax, which is the boss fight, and just tell an amazing story and give you an experience no other video game genre can. I'll see you guys in the next video, and again, if you enjoy my JRPG content, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.